So I think I mentioned in the first time I talked about the KLAIM model that I've been teaching this kind of concept to high school students, to undergrads, to PhD students. And I believe that this kind of model will at least be helpful toward helping us to understand not only how to do research and understand how we should create the kinds of papers and arguments that we might be doing, let's say in a class, but I hope that these things stay with us through life. So the third filter is a filter called authority. All of us actually accede to certain authorities. Now, for instance, when you came into my class, you acceded to my authority just because I'm the professor and I'm going to lay out what it is that we're going to be doing in this class. Whether you like that authority or not, that's really not the issue. You actually signed up, and that's really important to understand that we give ourselves over to authorities. By the way, the most basic authority, the stop sign. We all have to stop, and that's really crucial. So here we go. Notice that this is a pyramid. And so I'm starting at the bottom with my ideas here. I'm coming back to the concept of assumptions. We mentioned that in the last video. My emphasis here is to recognize that when we assume certain things about life, and these are baseline ideas, that it biases and prejudices us against other ideas. We need to acknowledge that. Remember what I said in the second video. We need to just be upfront and say, you know what, I believe this, you believe that. Okay, now we can have the conversation. That's really important for us to recognize. I would say that one of the baseline assumptions about life is the eternal versus the temporal. That is this world all that there is? If this world is all that there is, then you're going to approach life in a certain way. If, however, this world is not all that there is, and that there's another world after this one, if you want to think about the 1999 Matrix film, feel free. The whole point of my emphasis is there another world to which we must give an account? All of us have an assumption about that basic issue. The second part of the pyramid is our knowledge base. We come to the issue of source and ownership. I mentioned knowledge in a video earlier. My concern here is who owns, that is, who owns the source of where the knowledge is coming from. Crucial issue here. Very important that you understand, for instance, that Jeff Bezos of Amazon owns Washington Post. What does that mean for us? Well, you might want to do some work on that. The third part of the pyramid is truth. Now, lots of people like to start with truth, but quite frankly, they bypass these two ideas, and really important nonetheless that we give that kind of foundation. So in truth, what are we asking about? We're asking, what can I trust? And then in the kind of research that we all do in one form or another, we're looking for what's reliable and what's verifiable. How can I actually know for sure that this is the best way to go? Those are the questions that we're interested in when we talk about truth. The second to the last part of the pyramid is about the concept of authority. And quite frankly, if I could be so bold as to suggest, I believe this question, who says, is the question of all of life. Who are you to tell me? That's a question we all ask. We've been asking that since we've been kids. The whole idea, of course, is that we do bear responsibility to somebody. The only question left to answer is, who is that somebody? And so the authority question is huge. Ultimately, we get to ethics. And again, a lot of people like to start here and bypass some of these foundations, but an important idea, nonetheless, to keep in mind that there are certain ideas of right and wrong. Right and wrong. Oh, some things are good, some things are bad. Some things are right, some things are evil. Well, where do we get those things from, and where do ethics come from? Frankly, they come from all of this wellspring, this foundation, this pyramid approach to understanding that before we even talk about right and wrong, we have to start way down here, understanding our assumptions, where does our knowledge come from, truth, authority, and then ultimately we can talk about right and wrong. A short overview of what it means to think through the filter of authority, but all of our information, remember this chart behind me, all of our information is passing through these ideas, and our authority is a crucial issue as well.